Welcome to Dip a Toe. Oh, I gotta turn my camera on. Oh, epic fail. We're live on IMU TV.
Yes, we are live on IMU TV, and this is the pilot. So everything must go wrong tonight.
Right.
Let's go.
Welcome everyone to the Dip a Toe Show. Tonight we're diving headfirst into the wild world of crypto security with our special Lock It Down crypto security secrets and best practices. And we want you to join the conversation. Currently, we're live on X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and IMU TV Web3. And we want you to join the conversation. You can find us over on YouTube at Dip a Toe and join us in the chat, or at Dip a Toe Show on X, and we're at Dip a Toe everywhere else. Be sure to join the discussion on this YouTube because this is going to be a good one.
Absolutely. Tonight for the official IMU TV broadcast, we have an all-star panel of coders and educators. We have the Patrick L. Riley, the William-ClassyXoge. We have the crew from TextRP. By the way, we'll talk about what they won maybe a little bit in Las Vegas. Will and Mike from the TextRP crew. We got Mike Laugh, who really does laugh. Some of you all might know, but he does. We have Kristin Dack, a.k.a. Lady K, ready to break down how to protect your crypto bank accounts from scammers, keys, security terms like 2FA. What does that really mean? We're going to explore the best wallet options and share must-know tips for beginners. So really pay attention, folks. Like, seriously, pause the video, go back and watch. We're also going to talk about the importance of these processes as it pertains to becoming your own bank. So whether you're new to crypto or a seasoned holder, this show is all about locking down your assets and staying safe in this digital world. So grab your sheet, drop your questions in the chat. Make sure they're all caps, please. Otherwise, we don't get to them. Grab your favorite snack, and let's go and dip that toe.
Let's go. Welcome to Dip a Toe. How you doing, Simon?
Man, I'm doing super fantastic this hump day. As always, we're live on IMU TV. Say what?
Web3, baby. Huh?
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. All because of magic internet money.
I'm telling you. I'm super excited, guys. We are live. This is the first time that we are streaming live on imutv.tv. Just go to the Web3 section, and we are streaming live there. Super excited and thankful to the IMU TV team. Rob Nichols, Fitzy, and Niall Cottrell. We couldn't thank you enough for having Dip a Toe Show be the first crypto education content creators on your platform. It's such an honor, and we're super, super excited for that. Yeah, we have an exciting show in store for everyone this evening. I do have a couple of announcements to make.
Announcements.
Yeah. But before I do, I want to welcome, there's 59 of you in here tonight. Thank you for coming to the Dip and Toe Show. If you're watching on Facebook and X and all of that, we really would love for you to go over on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to join the conversation, it's best to join the conversation within the YouTube chat, because we will see them. And we have 6 fantastic panelists this evening to talk about the crypto security and best practices. And so I think you're going to want to be in that chat. And also a huge shout out to Berserker and Uncle Buster, because Simon, I went on their show, The Boardroom, on Monday night, and they gave us great shout outs. And we are at 947 subscribers. So we are closer than ever. And wouldn't it be fantastic if we got to 1,000 on tonight's monumental show with streaming live on IMU TV?
Oh, that would be so amazing. And if you guys are just sitting there watching the Dip and Toe Show, create a fake YouTube account, go over there, resubscribe for us. Just help us get over that mark if you wanted to. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying it's an idea.
Yeah. So that would be fantastic, guys. The other thing I wanted to say is thank you to all of the people, the subscribers to the channel. There's been people 100%. That have been doing super chats that have subscribed. And so over the weekend, I created special little badges for you guys. And there's also some a few Dip-a-toe avatars that you are, what do I want to say? Like, the smiley faces and stuff, icons that you can put in
emojis.
Yeah, the emojis. That's what it is. I did some custom emojis. So it'd be kind of fun to see if it works. I didn't work super hard on it, but I did work a couple hours on it. And so it'd be kind of cool to see if it works.
So most of us in the real world, 2 hours of work is hard work. Okay, yeah, Melissa, right. I'm just saying that. All right.
Yeah. Well, and it's just really a shout out to everyone that is supporting the channel. Just by subscribing and liking and commenting, you really help the channel grow. And, as I said on a space on Coffee and Crypto with Stone this morning, I said, when Dip-a-Toe grows, when Dip-a-Toe Show grows and succeeds, we all grow. You all grow. Everyone that comes on this show, everyone that watches this show, it's a benefit for everyone. So we can lift each other up. So I just really implore you to please, if you can, do that. That would be fantastic. The other announcement, what was the other announcement? Oh, here's an announcement.
I was gonna say it's pretty big.
There is going to be some additional programming under the Dip-a-Toe umbrella. Miss Kita, one of our favorites, she's going to co-host a ladies show on Monday nights. It's going to be Monday nights from 9 p.m. until hopefully just 10, but maybe 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be called Digital Ladies Unleashed. And
yes.
All about the women that are in Web3, whether they're coding in the background, building things in the Web3 space, anybody that is propelling this space in general, and that are dipping their toes into it. So I'm really looking forward. The very first show is going to be on September 1st, which is Labor Day, which is going to be the birthing of the Digital Ladies Unleashed. And so
I like this.
Look
this
for
is
it, guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that will also be streaming live on IMU TV Web3's platform as well, which streams to 27 countries worldwide and soon to be with Apple TV and all of that stuff. And so all of you favorite and fantastic people that come on the show, you're gonna be on TV, man. You're gonna be on TV. So yeah, super, super excited for all of that. Man, we got a lot of cool people in here tonight.
We do. Before I know we kind of go long-winded in this. Hey, what's up, everybody? Here's what's going on. But real deal, everybody, from an outsider looking in, there was a time when I wasn't able to be a co-host here on the Dipto Show, and Melissa had the ladies come on. And I'll tell you what, I was, as a fellow cryptopian in this digital asset space, it was so refreshing to get the ladies' perspective. I mean, just even from a Dipito process, some of them had a different strategy from their perspectives in regards to their position in relationships. It was so much more than that. So, Melissa, thank you for bringing this to the community, as well as Miss Keita. I know you out there, girl. Thanks
Yeah.
for so brave and courageous to bring this, because Monday nights, I know I'll be listening to that because it's just an awesome different perspective. It's not all men. It's not only men in this space, man. It's the ladies too, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So glad you're going to highlight the ladies up in here.
And I also wanted to mention that Optimistic Prime, Amanda,
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's
she'll
go.
be coming on. I sure would love for Lady K. I haven't even told Lady K about this yet, but
Spoiler alert, Lady
my
K.
desire is to all of the women that are dipping their toes into this space, to give them a place where they can even practice being on camera, and having these conversations, because their voices are so important. And we have so many strong, smart women in this space. And so there'll be some rotating people in and out. Maybe there'll be a time when I'm not hosting it and, Amanda's hosting it, or, Lady K and Keita, and, so it's going to be an interesting concept. But we're going to be very consistent with the Monday night, 9 p.m. And hey, we realize there's a lot of competition out there on that evening. There's a lot of things going on. No worries. It's recorded, so people can listen to it back. But it'll be a place to document our journey on a consistent basis. So super excited about it. Switching to, because we're 15 minutes in, 10 minutes in. Tonight's lineup, guys, this crypto security secrets, it's come to, my attention. There's new scams out there every day. We are affiliated with some of the brightest minds in the space. And so we were talking one night on a Dipito after dark, and these fine people said, heck yeah, we'll come on and talk about crypto security and best practices. And so, like you said, we've got Patrick Riley coming on. We have Mike from TextRP. Who else we have? We have Mike Laff and Mr. Zoge and Kristin Dack and Will from TextRP. So we've got quite the lineup today, and I want to put me over there. We'll get somebody there. There we go. Welcome to Dipito, guys. How are you this evening?
Doing good.
Hello.
Doing good. Yep, doing good.
What's up?
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Hello.
Man, you're welcome. Yeah, so there's so many things that are happening so fast. We're all dipping our toes into all these different projects. We're trying out wallets. We're trying out different platforms. We're trying to figure out how to move in this space as carefully as possible. And yet, because the world is moving so fast, sometimes we forget some of the most basic steps that we need to take in order to protect ourselves. And so we thought it'd be great to have people on like yourselves that are well-versed in this area. And so what first I'd like to do is have you guys go around the room and just give kind of a brief introduction to yourself, what you're doing now. And I'm sure it will be really evident as to why you were asked to be on this panel tonight. And so we'll start with Patrick because he's in the big square, and then we'll go with the Mike and the Zoge and the Kristin and the Will.
Got it.
All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. And I'm Patrick L. Riley. I'm the president and founder of Quantum Financial Systems, LLC. And under that umbrella, we have Capital Revival, which is RPR token, Ascension Index ASC, ARC Institute or ARC token, We also have separate companies, Fortify, R&D. We have Pillars, which is PLR token box or built on XRP.com, Stratex, and Grim, as well as tokenized gold and silver through AAU and AAG, and Optiflex. So quite a lot going on under our umbrella. And we're also working on building out the Viva wallet, which is looking to kind of change the game on security. So I'm excited to dive into it and happy to speak with all this fine panel.
Fantastic.
Well, welcome to the show, Patrick. Next up, the Mike.
Hey, so I'm Mike. I am the Chief Technology Officer at TextRP. I'm also a Web2 software developer during the day. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, and I've done security analysis, if you will, in the past in my day job. And so I'm looking forward to talking about not necessarily the tech side of hacking, but also some of the social engineering side too. So, yeah.
Cool. Welcome to the
Welcome.
show, Mike.
Yeah.
And how about one mic for the other Mike? Mike Laugh, everybody.
Hey,
I love your shirt, Mike Laugh.
Yeah, that is pretty dope, bro.
I love the laugh. I love it.
Yeah,
Mike Laugh. I'm kind of just a community member, more or less. You know, like I've been a core team on Laugh for the past 9-10 months. Professionally, like I'm a biomed technician, so I'm used to working on more of the hardware side of things, and I've just been a tech enthusiast my whole life. You know, my dad was an engineer, got me into stuff when I was really young, so I'm all about systems and how things work. Right, I'm more of a tech nerd. But yeah, no, it's good to be here with you guys. Good to dive into this. I think it's a super important subject, and I think there's some real simple things, just ways of thinking that could help people a lot from tonight. So this will be good.
Love it. Look
Welcome.
forward to hearing from you a little bit later on that topic. Mr. Zoge is in the house tonight.
The man, the myth, the legend, the angry red panda who's really a big giant teddy bear. Welcome back to Dipito.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm probably one of the least credentialed here, but I work on Mad Lab, and I made the Zoge token back in 2021, and denizen of the ledger, and kind of just a spaces troll.
You're a lot more than that, my friend.
You're so much more than
You're a lot more than that.
You honestly, bro, and real talk. And for those of you that don't know, this is your first time watching anything crypto, digital assets, because we are broadcasting live on IMU TV. You, sir, are a transformer. Okay, you literally are. More than meets the eyes with you, my friend. More than meets the eyes, man. A real deal. You guys watch out. Actually, watch everybody here on this panel tonight. They're really going to cook your noodle in some respects, but their backgrounds have only, in my opinion, fostered to where they're at today in this digital asset space. And everybody here is a prime example of that, including you, sir. So, Mr. Zoge, we'll get to you. And here's probably one of the most soft-spoken but highly most intelligent ladies in all of the digital asset space that I know, the Miss Lady K. Lady K, welcome to the Dipito Show.
Hey, thank you for having me. No, XOge, I think I'm probably the least credentialed person here on this. I know I picked a little brain.
Now it's competition.
XOge's brain. And I've just been really interested in protecting my investment. I just finished a course on cybersecurity, so I've been really trying to up my game there. And thank you for asking me to be on here.
And it's a pleasure having you, Kristin. I can't wait to hear some of your advice. You know, some of the people that take the classes and they take their own security into their own hands, right? You're fresh off of the learning, so your perspective is very important and inspirational to others. So pleasure to have you here.
Thanks.
And another man, another myth, arguably a legend. Will from TextRP. What's up, Will? Welcome to the Dipito Show.
Hi, thank you, and I hope I can be heard properly. And
Yep.
clearly,
We're
okay,
good. We're
great.
good. Yep.
Yeah, thank you for having myself and Mike here on this discussion. I think it's very important. My name is Will Moreno, fully doxed. My background is in the military. I retired from the military back in 2007. Since then, I've been, my background there was telecommunications, IT work. And in my recent civilian career, I work for the defense industry along the same lines, just now with without the uniform. I hold a security clearance, and I am the CEO of TextRP alongside with Mike, our CTO, and we are a secure messaging application for the XRPL, and love to hear some insights as to what everyone's learned in their journey as far as what their best practices are for dealing with securing their assets. And hopefully I'll be able to maybe share a point or two myself.
Love it.
Yeah. Welcome to Dip a Toe. And not to mention the fact that you guys were the grand prize winners at the XRP Shark Tank in Las Vegas.
Yes, yes, and it was really nice to see many of you there as well. And so it's very nice to kind of come back here and do a bit of a follow up. I had a great time there meeting you, Simon, and you, Melissa.
Yeah,
and
that
Mike
was
was there with us.
It was
I don't know if Patrick
fantastic.
was there. I know there was a lot of hustle and bustle at the time.
wasn't
But it
there
was
this
just so
time.
nice to meet so many people in the space from all different walks of life.
Yep.
All sharing in a similar technology, and everyone has their different purposes for why they're involved. And so security, should tailor itself to the purpose that you're doing. So, love to get into this discussion.
Man, you're
it.
so right. And that's the thing is, for those of you watching, by the way, there's 134 people watching already, 20 minutes into the show. That's fantastic. That is more people than we generally get in the first 20 minutes. So this tells me that people are chomping at the bit. I also want to give a shout out to your friends at Trench Warfare, Zoge, because they did not do their show this evening so that they could see their friend Zoge on Dip a Toe, and to talk about the crypto security secrets and best practices. And so we really want to thank them for doing that, encouraging their listeners to kind of check out Dip a Toe show this evening. So we really, really appreciate that. So one of the things I wanted to kick the show off with is the digital scams. So I just kind of wanted to go around the room, or somebody kind of start the conversation. But what are some of the most common scams that you're seeing right now that are targeting both crypto users and even traditional bank accounts? How are they exploiting the similar vulnerabilities between even a crypto wallet and your bank account? And pretty much, we can kind of go, if anybody has something they want to shout out, but we can also go in order. It's up to you how you want to do it.
I can start off because I have something very recent and fresh.
Okay.
So
let's go.
And William-ClassyXoge will actually know what I'm talking about, because earlier last week I got an email from Zaman, supposedly about a desktop wallet application, and this was actually before they tweeted about it. And so I sent it to him and just to get the message out there. But then since then I've received another same exact copy paste email, but for one was for Doppler, and then another one was for I think it was XRP scan. They're just sending everything they can. And so just to make sure everybody's aware, there's a lot of the desktop app email scams going on right now. Other than that, though, what we've found, or what we've experienced as a community, is people coming, basically getting control of somebody you know's account through some phishing attempt, some malicious link, and then they use that trust to basically continue the chain. So we've had in the past where members of the community have been compromised because they are approached by someone they know who is like trying to start a podcast supposedly, and they use like a StreamYard link or a Riverside. I'm sure they're going to change it up and do something new soon, but it's always around the same topic of hearing your crypto story and that type of thing. So if somebody ever messages you and they're not into podcasting and they're trying to start a podcast, use a second form of communication to like verify with that person before you click on any links.
Right.
But yeah, so those are the two big ones that come to mind right off the top. So I don't know if anyone else has any fresh or recent security vulnerabilities that have happened.
Well, I continue to receive phone calls from scammers. My phone number is out there. In fact, I argue with scammers a lot. I like to waste their time. So my numbers, they're always calling me. I have a great time with them. And one thing it does for me is it teaches me their latest, scheme. So unfortunately, our family, my father-in-law was the victim of a scam, a little bit more traditional. But those scammers do like to get their money via crypto. So that's one thing. But one of the most recent ones that I received was related to Coinbase. So it's very important to also note that no one from Coinbase, no one from Uphold, no one from any NFT marketplace, no one from any exchange will ever call you and reach out to you personally, especially when it has to do something with, oh no, there seems to be an issue with your account. We're going to have to access it. Just give us that code that pops up on your phone. A lot of times, I think for the most part, a lot of people are savvy. The younger folks are savvy. I see a lot of it happening more towards the more people my age, and above. And I'm in my 40s. And so I see that a lot of people can fall for these scams. But if you just stay watching shows like Dipito and keep yourself, just really in the know, first thing you need to know is kind of put a shield over yourself, say, whitelist everything, don't just accept, everything at its word, especially if you're talking or chatting with someone who you don't know and have never seen their face, and don't know any of their details. It's just, it's kind of like, it should be a life, ethos that you live, not just for digital life, but definitely, especially now with the digital life, you have to, have this shield of it's sad that you have to, be in this mindset of they're after me, but unfortunately they're after you.
Yeah. You threw out a term, whitelist. You want to tell the audience, the Dipitoers, what whitelist is?
Sure. So it's just my way of describing, you don't just go, hey, you are on my blacklist, I'm never going to talk to you. No, you should really come about it the opposite. Go, if you're not on my list of people I know and people that that can be vetted, I'm not talking to you. Right? Rather than waiting for a mistake to happen so you can then put that person on a blacklist, right? You want to always, vet people. And, in the crypto space, more and more, that's becoming more of a challenge. We have our own solutions in our messaging app where we can verify people's wallets. After you have a conversation just like this, you have a conversation that you can go, okay, I'm going to verify that account. So you want to look for platforms that do those kind of things where they verify each other in a P2P fashion. But I'd love to hear any other crypto scams out there for the, especially XRPL related. Most of the ones I see are related to social media and wanting to just take your XRP as some kind of payment and then never receive the service itself. Not an actual scam in which your funds are depleted. For that to happen, they have to get at your keys. And fortunately, I've found that the XRPL is actually one of the more secure networks for crypto, because if you look at EVMs, for example, where you're dealing with MetaMask. How many news? I mean, I hope you've probably seen. There are countless horror stories when it comes to MetaMask and your wallets that are based on your browser, right? So that's basically a risk factor right there. So you have to kind of watch out for this. And if you're going to use an online wallet, you don't want to make that your main wallet. You want to kind of make the funds there transient and don't really keep them in there. I'd love to hear more from folks like Zoge, who have been in the space for a very long time and has really gotten into, he practically lives in the ledger. So he's probably more adept as to what's been going on lately. And then Patrick probably has some insight into some institutional risk factors itself.
Yeah. Any other folks want to share any scams they're aware of currently or have any viewpoints on scams?
Well, recently, a member of the community got scammed. He thought he was talking to Ledger support, and he ended up signing a transaction that drained the wallet. And the thing is with, with the Ledger device, like Ledger support is not going to help you with that device if it's not working, right? But you can take those seed phrases. I mean, it's good because those seed phrases were generated offline and they were secure. But if you can't use it anymore, you can take those seed phrases and enter them into another wallet, like a hot wallet, and then move that crypto to like another wallet, So you can still access. You don't have to rely on Ledger support, and Ledger support is not going to reach out to you, and they certainly aren't going to ask for your seed phrases. Xamin says all the time, like their support is through their app. WeC has said, go to the app through the app, because if they can hack that, I'd be very impressed. Don't trust social media, don't trust email. So
that's the biggest thing. So guys, when it's coming to these scams, they're trying to get, it's like, when they say like somebody's going to come up and accost you, you never let them take you to another place, right? That's the rules. If you're walking along, someone wants to grab you, you never want to let them take you to another place. This is the same kind of concept. These scammers are trying to make you feel comfortable, and they're trying to take you to another place to give you information on, I'm going to help you walk through this kind of stuff, right? And when people are new to crypto, they're confused. If they don't understand, something doesn't go quite right, they panic, and they're reaching out for anybody to help them. And there's all too many people out there in the social media space that are all too willing to give you a helping hand. Just be savvy. Look at the way these people, you could post one thing about having an issue, and you'll get a whole bunch of scammers posting underneath wanting to help you. Don't talk to those people. If you don't know them, you don't talk to them. And before we move on to someone else, I just want to say, with Dip a Toe and the whole scamming using the links, because we use StreamYard, right? And they originally started doing it with Zoom, and people reaching out. Well, I reach out to people all the time in the DMs and say, hey, I want you to come on Dip a Toe show. The difference between our show and the random podcast emails and stuff that you get is that I'm on Coffee and Crypto with Stone every day, and I'm talking and affiliated with all of you guys. And so we are so transparent in who we are and what we do that if I reach out to you and you're like, who is this chick? All you got to do is I'll usually say Stone can vouch for me. Lady K can vouch for me. Patrick can. Zoge can. Whoever I know that they know, I will say you can talk to them and they'll tell you that we're good. And so, I just really want to say to any of you guys out there that are, you want to get on a podcast, you're super excited that someone reached out to you, just chill, slow your roll. Don't click any links, especially if it's an account you've never heard of before, a podcast you've never heard of before. And just don't do it. I actually reached out to the podcast that somebody told me that they were the managing director for, or the media management person. And I reached out to the account directly and said, hey, does this person work for you? Because they're wanting me to be on the podcast. And they said, nope, it's not us. And we've heard this before. and they're going around and scamming people. So guys, if anybody does that to you, reach out to anybody on this panel and say like, hey, the Dip Toe Show, reach out to me for real. And don't click any links. I'm not going to send you a link to a StreamYard unless you've confirmed and we've chatted and you're coming on Dip Toe. Just saying. In any event, who else? Anybody else have any scams?
I think Mike Laff had a scam.
Yeah, I could jump on that.
Yeah, would you please?
Mike and Will really nailed it, like to the point where that really does cover probably 90 to 95% of attack vectors, right? Like social engineering stuff, they're going to send you messages. They're going to be inside different chat. Like let's say you get on Telegram for the first time, which can be confusing in its own. You get in there and you try to get support from someone for a wallet, something like that. You're going to be accosted. And you're not even going to understand the dynamics if you're new to this whole space, right? So, Simon, what you're saying, the confusion is what they capitalize on. Your inexperience, all of that. Yep. But legitimately, like if you're listening to this, understand that literally 90+% of the attacks coming your way are going to be some kind of social engineering attempt or simply just link, right? And it's really easy when we say like what Mike was getting at about these crypto, hey, do this, let's talk about this, click this link, let's do this interview. And you can tell that it's crypto related. For a lot of people, alarm bells go off, right? But just like the algorithm for X is working, there's independent people that watch, right? They've got their accounts, their bots, they're running their own custom hardware to profile people to have more sophisticated attacks, right? Yep. So they may send you a message that looks like something that works in line with a conversation you were currently having, right? So it feels like a natural conversation and they use that as an in, or just producing content and giving you a link. And that's the corrupted link that's going to compromise the device that you're on. Right. And I think that'll be for everything else. It's compromising a device, right? You click a link, you get some kind of exploit. Someone's getting external access to your device. That's the number one way that they're going to actually take action on this stuff, right? So making sure that your devices are sterile. Like I really like the idea of you have devices for certain tasks and you don't cross-contaminate them, right?
Yep. 100%.
So crypto,
Mike.
Crypto.
Let's hit the nail on the head. Yeah. That is it.
So like on your crypto wallets, right? Like if you're going to be using a phone, use an old phone. Use a phone that's not your main phone, that you're not logged into Twitter and Google and Facebook. You're not cruising YouTube on it. You're not doing any of the things where you're going to most likely subject yourself to links, attacks, communications with other people. You don't contact support from that. You just do crypto things and that's it, right?
So let's drive this home to the 40 and up crowd. I want to drive this home to the 40 and up crowd. Do you use social media on your Chase bank credit card? No. Do you do any type of reach out on your Bank of America debit card? No. How about through their platform? Maybe for their support, maybe. Okay. But that's the weakness. Okay. For the 40s and ups, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s and more, they play on the polished customer service. One of the most sophisticated scams that I came across did come through social media. They played on the fear of a post, and that had to do with Ledger. And Patrick, I know Patrick will remember this because I called him for support of like, hey, what's our next steps? We already know. Look, money's gone. I know it. It's gone. And what happened was a very refined, very polished, hold their hand, walk through the problem that was articulated in this post from a known social media content provider, right? The reality was if you were just reading and you just have your cup of coffee, you might not be trained to look for the blue check mark. And you might not be able to look at the blue check mark and see if it's off just a little bit. Is it centered? Is it not centered? Because they can do what's called the overlay. For those of you who don't know what an overlay is, remember back in the day, you had the overhead projector and the teacher could write with their Sharpie and it would go on the board. That's overlay. They could just overlay different sheets. But my point is, if you don't do things that you can't do with your debit card, same thing with crypto. And that's what Mike's really highlighting. Have an old phone or a device. Maybe it just does your XRP. Maybe you have a whole nother device that does, some other DeFi protocols. Will was talking about an online wallet. Okay. That's like a browser extension. You turn your internet on, it's on. Whether you clicked it and opened it and accessed and did cool functions, the door is unlocked and they don't even need to knock. They'll have a way to come on in. So using that as a pass through, send coins from there, do the work you need to do, send them off to your more secure location. Mike Leff, have you seen, what was the first scam that you actually that you came across in your crypto journey, where you were just like,
it's what was already mentioned. Yeah, like if you go to my inbox, I've got thousands, and I'm not exaggerating, thousands of emails. Like, well, on X, it's all DMs, right? And they try to add you into X groups and different things, and then if your email's associated with it, it's going to go to that email, whatever, right? Which that's a whole nother topic, using certain accounts for
different emails.
Things,
same. Yep.
Redundancy on emails that are different layers of security to protect yourself so you're not exposed. Because people can get, some of these devices, some of these services, they want more and more information, right? Yep. But yeah, no, it's been social engineering attacks. I think the worst ones, it was really early on. I was still learning First Ledger, and I had to go over to First Ledger's Telegram to get support. And it was just straight up accosted by scammers, right? And I was new to Telegram at the time too. So I didn't really know what to expect. And they were doing things that I'd never experienced on the app. And I mean, I'm not giving any information to anybody that ever contacts me, right? Like, if I've got a problem and I'm looking for support, it's like, if somebody reaches out, it's like, hey, I'll call you back, and I'm going to call from the main number that I know, or contact through the official email or whatever, right?
Sure.
But it could easily, they were very, if it weren't for the accent, and I don't mean any offense by this, but if it wasn't for the accent of the people involved in what they were doing, it could have easily have gotten me, right?
Yeah. Right.
You just learn for those little signs and the interactions that people have, the way that they speak, urgency, trying to push you to do things, seeking for certain kinds of information. That's how you identify that. But that was probably the most sophisticated I've seen yet, was through Telegram, and just the amount of people that were teamed up to pose as being support.
That's an interesting topic I want to touch on there, two teams. And I think, Patrick, could you touch on the depth of these teams of scammers that are out there? Because you were one of the first ones here in the Dipto show to really bring that to light. So could you expand upon that?
Yeah, and there are definitely teams out there that like to coordinate their scams, and they'll have multiple people setting you up for basically the what would be the heist, if you will. It's kind of like if you go to third world countries, you'll have one person tell you about how they've got this great package for you, the next person's driving the cab, and the next one's got your credit card lined up. And I know Will knows exactly what I'm talking about there, but relay this. I want to pull this back a little bit and boil it down to the 4 big things you should take away or don't do. So I have a medical background, and there's what's called the 4 rights, but in crypto there's the 4 wrongs. So don't react. If you are very excited, you are outside of your common sense. If you are very afraid, you are outside of your common sense. So do not react to anything, whether it's on the phone, whether it's a DM, whether it's, the price of crypto itself. Just try not to react hastily to anything. Don't reply. So if it's an actual account, if it's something that's serious, I think the one that Lady K was just talking about was one of the gentlemen out of the Carolinas got called by someone who claimed to be Ledger support, and they were, got the guy to give some information and managed to drain his ledger. You can either not reply or start giving them completely intentional misinformation. If they're a scammer, they're going to follow you down that rabbit hole of misinformation. You can start saying, oh, I don't have a ledger, but I've got a Trezor One. And is that what you're calling about? And they'll go, oh, yeah, we own that too. They're going to start following with you. Okay. So
that is golden advice right there, my friend. And I didn't think of that, but I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to, lead them on a little bit, because if you lead them on in the wrong direction and they're a scammer, they will go with you. But if they were legitimate, they'll keep trying to pull back to what they originally called about and then hang up on them. If they're legitimate, they'll call you back. If they don't call you back, it's not your problem, right? So don't reply. Don't rush. Don't try to do anything fast.
That's the
in crypto.
biggest one.
There's no need.
Right? It's always good to be last to the table in this space. Being
Exactly.
last to the table is okay.
Yeah, there is no urgency whatsoever when it comes to any kind of wallet support or wallet recovery or anything like that would happen on the ledger. It would never be a rush. So, just hang up on them, walk away, don't reply to them, don't react to anything that seems outrageous in any way, shape, or form. And don't redirect. Another community member, Ostock, sorry for the shout out if you didn't want it, but I know he just got ripped off for about $100K worth of XRP, and it happened through a redirect link. So it's a classic scam to redirect to things that look like legitimate sites that are a fake URL. Usually missing that S at the end of the HTTPS. And some sort of similar URL. So kind of what Will was saying is stick to your whitelist, things that for a fact are good. So when you start getting into crypto, the first thing you should do is bookmark everything you do know for a fact is the real thing. And you should only ever get to those sites through those bookmarks, through that exact same method repeatedly. I'm a big proponent of Lean Six Sigma, which is kind of your efficiency for manufacturing. But basically what that means is removing variables. The more variables you have, if you access, Coinbase through one computer, then you have 1 point of vulnerability. If you access Coinbase through your computer, your laptop, your cell phone, your iPad, you have 4 points of vulnerability. So keep your points of vulnerability as minimal as possible. Keep your number of centralized exchanges that you move crypto through as minimal as possible. And that is going to keep your footprint or your vulnerability as minimal as possible.
I like that. Patrick, would you also agree that maybe this could be added to one's practices, whether they're brand new or a seasoned veteran in this digital asset space? And that is this, to literally carve out an appointment to do cryptocurrency business only? Would you say that's a good practice?
I think that'd be great for mental health, especially of new users.
Yeah, sure.
5 minutes. That would be good advice. And of course it goes along with all the other things like not risking more than you can afford to lose and that type of thing. But patience is really the name of the game in cryptocurrency, and everyone thinks it's such a fast moving market that you've got to do, and you've got to engage, and you've got to be on, social media and all these things. But the reality is, go look at CoinMarketCap and look at the historical charts, go back a year, 2 years, 5 years, and think what happens if you just put $1,000 in basically anything in the top 100 and just held it and did nothing. You would be well off.
Yes.
So doing less
every time you're transacting is when
doing
you're
less is more.
when you're putting yourself out there, you're more vulnerable when you're doing all of these transactions. Fantastic advice, guys. We got 252 people watching the Dip and Toe show right now. Last I looked, we were at like 947 or 48. We've got 252. If you are watching this programming and you are not following us on YouTube at Dip and Toe or at Dip and Toe Show on X, please give us a follow. Share this out. Now we've got 261. This is a conversation that we all need to have on a regular basis. And I think this show is something that everyone can play back. I know I'm going to play it back and listen to it again, especially when I get frustrated. And like you said, Patrick, slow down. There's no rush. Don't do anything quickly, because you could get yourself in a pickle. Hey, shout out to 68J. We love you. greatest family on planet Earth. Kita, we love you too. You guys, thank you so much for those super chats. We really, really appreciate it. Lady K, what's your perspective on all of this?
It's great information. You know, like points of vulnerability is not just X though. It can be your text message, it can be your emails. There's a huge phishing scam in the real estate industry right now, which I could totally see coming into crypto. And that's where you go to send wiring instructions by email and they intercept the email and change it, right? So this is where, you know, we've been taught you confirm. Like, okay, you get the instructions, but then you call and on voice, you confirm. And I think if you do that with crypto as well, you know, you need to send a large transaction. They email it, like be on the phone or space with them and say, you know, is this what you sent me? Confirm.
Right.
Important.
Valid. I remember, Lady K, you brought up wiring. Oh, that hits home to me because I remember my first wiring to an exchange, and they gave me the option, you know, hey, you can do it over the phone or you can come in. I'm like, oh, no. I'm coming in. We're going to do old school. I'm going to have a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm going to watch you punch the numbers into the keyboard. Right. You know, I was that nervous. Right. But in that moment, it did teach me something to find what works best, really what works best for you, for your confidence in something that is getting done right, especially when you are putting something on the line. And that's crazy. How long has that scam in the real estate world been going on? Is this fairly a new tactic, or has it been going on for some time now?
7, 8, 10 years ago. I can't remember the time frame when the government changed the law that you can no longer bring money to the table and the funds had to be like wired. It ramped up big. I mean, within weeks, like you were hearing nightmare stories, people were losing 50,000 here, 75,000 there. So you know, and I'm big on like burner wallets too, right? Like use a burner wallet for your everyday, you know, how many platforms are you connecting to and logging into? Like, don't keep your crypto there, you know, use that to play with. And you know, you can have hot wallets for the crypto you use daily and whatnot, and cold wallets for, you know, your long-term holds.
Before we switch on to any other topic, anybody else have anything that they want to talk about as far as scams? Because I do want to move on to terminology because we're throwing a lot of terms out there. So
Well, I think I can roll us right into terminology about 2FA. So to kind of add on to what Lady K was saying about authenticating with the people that you are either sending money to, or, you know, for teams out there, for, you know, the people on this call, or for any builders or prospective builders out there. One of the things we use as a tool is we get 2FA authentications that are shared amongst our team. So as we're setting up an account, say for X or, you know, some of the other utilities we use, we'll get on a Zoom call, me and 3 or 4 other people on my team, and we will all scan that same 2FA code, which is a 2-factor authentication, basically a QR code that gives a 6-digit code that expires every 120 seconds. So what that does is it means now when, you know, Clint, who's one of my very important key guys on my team, when we decide we're going to send a large amount of money, or if he were to call me and say something like he needs a large amount of money, he wouldn't. But presuming he did, I would say, okay, well, let's get the 2FA off of our X account for this account, or let's get the 2FA off our MongoDB or whatever. And I'm going to want that exact same 2FA from him that I know for a fact only he has. So that's a good way to kind of secure your team. And I would say that's really important with what's coming with AI. You know, most people are just starting to see it, but AI will be able to fake your face. It will fake your voice. It's going to fake in the future. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't want to throw this bad juju out in the world, but pretty soon old people are going to be getting ransom calls from their kids saying, you know, in their kid's voice, or even with videos saying, here's this person who's been abducted, when really the kid is perfectly fine. But they just pulled their name and their voice and things off social media, and now they're scamming their grandparents. So you gotta be really careful, and 2FA is one way to do that.
Awesome. That's actually crazy that you mentioned that, because my wife, one of her grandmothers, got a call from a scammer saying that she was in fact my wife, and she was in jail. They I don't remember if they faked the whole. This is an inmate calling, their name from such and such county jail, right? I don't remember if that was a part of it, but the grandmother couldn't reach out to my wife, but reach out to my mother-in-law, and so it was able to be diffused right, that because Megan called right away, hey, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. But that's just, I mean, that just is a real thing that can that's totally possible. That's definitely on the way in some regards, and more. So just more vigilance on the table. But the 2FA, now, what does 2FA stand for? Patrick, could you help us out with that term?
Yeah, so 2FA means two-factor authentication. So
okay. Just want to make sure we got it right.
Yeah. So one-factor authentication is basically your username and your password. That's one gate or one lock that you have to unlock to get into an account. Anytime you set up an account that uses money, whether that's a regular traditional credit, debit, banking account or savings account, you should always have a 2FA. And most banks require that. They're going to make you do a confirmation through either a code sent to your cell phone or confirmation through an email as you log in, that type of thing. Usually in crypto, what that looks like is using Google Authenticator, and that's typical app that everyone's going to have on their phone already for the most part. And you would go and scan a QR code once you are already logged into that first factor authentication, and you would be adding second factor authentication. Some different exchanges will allow you to add third, fourth factor if you so choose as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Although I will say, if you're putting that much faith in an exchange, you're probably already wrong.
Awesome. Zoge, I know we're going to move on to terms, but did you have anything to add there?
Wow. Yeah, a ton was covered. Lots of really good points by people. And, I get emails all the time, people telling me, click this link, do these things. Right. And the truth of it is, if you just boil it down, like Mike said, it is almost all social engineering. And you're at a much greater risk of that than, say, physical, and then maybe something technological, right? So most of this stuff you can avoid simply by saying, does this company actually care about me? And if they don't even have time to answer the questions of their community, why are they emailing you out of the blue randomly saying, hey, guess what? You're amazing, and we need to, do such and such with your account. So, you just run it past a basic smell test, and if it seems fishy, 99% of the time it's gonna be. And what Patrick had said with, less connectivity is good. Less is more. That's absolutely true. And for MadLab, the wallet, for those who don't know, there's no connectivity. It has AMM access, it has sending transactions, it has cross-chain swapping, it has access to things that would normally take 4 or 5 different logins and connectivity. It does it without any of that. And it was always really important not even to pull CDN or external resources into MadLab for me, because those are all vulnerability points. So the files that MadLab uses are actually downloaded with it to ensure that, because a lot of sites, you go to them and they'll CDN and load in a JavaScript into the site itself from an external entity. Well, that can be modified. In fact, we saw that even with the own XRPL online live, one of the versions had been, it had a backdoor in it. So you can load a lot of different things in different ways that people aren't even aware of when visiting a website or even visiting email. And for the most part, I say, there's no way that we're going to fix this, because ultimately, it's been going on since the beginning of financial transactions through non-physical means. So banking and all of that. we hope that it gets better, but the problem is every time that we take a step forward, we risk taking steps back in other ways. So in other ways being, two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, these other variables that you have to start remembering, and then people are losing more accounts as a result. So then we have to weigh the pros and the cons of, is this more efficient kind of stuff? And then also we get more centralized and we get weaker to centralized databases being the points of failure, where somebody breaches Google or Apple, and this has been happening. All of these places carry a whole bunch of data on you. Then the hackers get that. As we bridge into more of an AI ecosystem, like Patrick is saying, this kind of data is going to be far more intelligently used by AI than your average petty crook. And what I mean by that, petty crook is going to be able to speak very layman-like to this AI and get it to do things way outside of their skill range that will absolutely help them achieve goals or combine different methods to wreck way more people. So my thought, on all of it is, the less data we have out there, especially involving, our transactions and our crypto accounts and things like that, the better off we are. And it's going to be rough. I mean, that's kind of where it is.
Well, you've created, so for those of you who don't know that you're just tuning in, and we do have 296 people watching the Dip-a-Toe Show this evening. Welcome to Dip-a-Toe Show. If you go back through our previous episodes, we've had Zojan talking about the Mad Lab wallet that he's created. And you can go back and watch that show, and it also in the description it has the links to his Mad Lab, and he has tutorials on how to use it. And so for those of you who are interested in dipping your toe even deeper into this space and really wanting your own control over your own funds and your own wallet without going through these third parties, consider checking out the Mad Lab and dipping your toe in that because it is a solution. But as Simon and I say, crypto ain't for sissies.
Crypto is not for sissies.
You got to be willing to do the work, basically. And so definitely encourage you guys to do that. So, so we talked about two-factor authentication. What are some other things that you recommend for helping people secure their assets and protect themselves from being scammed? I mean, I know that they have like the authenticator apps. They have the UB keys. Do you guys recommend those? Guys, like this doesn't just pertain to crypto. This pertains to your bank account. This pertains to any other websites that you're logging in that you want to secure and make sure that other people can't take over what you do. What would you suggest that a new person use? Do you like Google Authenticator? Do you like Authy? Do you like the YubiKey stuff? What are some suggestions out there?
Yeah, all of those are good options, Melissa. Like I used YubiKey for about a year because it was convenient for my life then. And then mostly it's been Authy and Google Authenticator. But one thing to stay away from, a lot of platforms will give you options of, hey, we'll just send you a text or we'll give you a phone call. That is where you run into issues a lot of times with the two-factor stuff. Because now if somebody compromises your device, right? If you actually become a target to a more sophisticated kind of attack, could have happened through one of these social engineering means, whatever. If you have that level of exposure, then somebody could just be sitting there waiting. And they do this stuff. They'll have teams of people that literally just stick around, and then they'll poke the bear, initiate something to initiate this handshake to take place. And then, they're the ones answering the text or answering the phone, and your phone may not get it with some of these attacks, right? So I don't encourage anybody to use text or voice as their two-factor authentication. Try to stick to an app, something that's reputable. That goes a lot further as far as keeping things safe.
Can I just add to something real quick, because I just had an experience. I'm not going to tell the whole long drawn out story, but I got a new phone. I had to port my number over. The phone did not have a hard SIM. It had an eSIM. There were issues downloading the SIM to the phone. Several issues, hours and hours and hours of tech help, which is ridiculous. And long story short, if you what really made me gave me pause with all of this stuff, and just what you were saying of not having it be to your phone number, not having it be to so anyone calling you, because when you're without your phone and you're using that as your authenticator, you're screwed. You're locked out of your bank account. You're locked out of your crypto. You're locked out of your socials. You're locked out of everything. And having those two-factor, when you set up a two-factor like Authy or Google or the YubiKey. Well, I don't know about the YubiKey because I don't have that. But when you set it up, it gives you codes, much like these wallets where you can repopulate it on a different device. You have to be careful when you set it up, because if you don't know to write those things down, it's kind of a moot point. But what I'm trying to get at is that gives you the freedom and the protection in the fact that, say I didn't get my phone back, and I felt like somebody really did SIM swap me or whatever, and I had my two-factor on there, I could use my two-factor that I have, repopulate it on another device, change it, move my stuff off or whatever was attached, change passwords, all of that stuff. And the person that has it has a lesser amount of chance of actually using that to access my stuff. Am I close to being right on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I'd like to add a little more on that too, as well. So by the way, those who wondering what a YubiKey is, this is a YubiKey, right? And it stores your authentication codes for your accounts. And this is a USB one, so you can stick it into the USB drive on your computer. But it's also an NFC, so you can basically just tap it to your phone, and it'll pull up the app with the codes that you need for your accounts. I also use the Authenticator app as well. But I want to talk about what you can actually do, what people are listening right now can actually do, right? Regarding that, right? Because we say, oh, move off the phone. So what you do is you go to your exchanges, right? And you opt out of the text messaging, all right? And if you can use an Authenticator app, you can use that. However, when you set up the Authenticator app, they give you a QR code to scan, right? And if you ever lose your app or your phone, you're not going to be able to get that authentication code again. So do write down that code, get yourself a little notepad and write down those codes and just keep them in your safe. Hopefully you'll never need them. All right. But that's just an extra layer of security there. But you do want to, go to those accounts like Uphold, your BitMEX, your, I don't even know if you can access that around here, but Binance and all that. Your Krakens, go to your profile and then look for the part that says security, and you want to look for 2FA or MFA, and you want to activate that. And if you have text, this is the vulnerability of the text, not just for the SIM swapping, because SIM swapping can be very technical, but on the social engineering side of things, this is how it would go along. You would get a call from someone claiming to be from the exchange, right? And they'll say something like, hey, if they're calling you, they already have enough of your information to access the account. They just need that code, right? So they're going to play it off as if they're support, and they're going to give you all this help, and they just need to verify your identity by giving them the code that you're going to get on your text. Now, what they're doing on their end is they're logging in with your credentials, but they can't get through because they need that code. So they're telling you that they're support and that they're sending a code to your phone and that you need to read it back to them. Once you read it to them, it's over. All right. You lost your account. So that's why you want to opt out of the text messaging if you can, if that platform supports it. And if that platform does not support it, you do have email that can be done as well. It's not as, it's yet another, risk there, but at least you're not going through the unencrypted text messages. I saw that Karma is there. He did point out on the comments, SMS is not encrypted. So if you got a sniffer out there, they can pick up on that.
Oh, can you expand a little bit? And I've always wondered this, and we've got this panel of experts here. So the YubiKey and the device that you say you can just stick into your computer, or the one you can tap, can you explain to the audience how that is more secure, and like what kind of technology, like how is it knowing that it's not plugged in or whatever, how do these things even work? And why are they more secure than having them send me a text message? I mean, you kind of just went over that, but the average person is like, well, I know how to use my phone. Right. I don't trust that little doodad thing. I don't know anything about it, and whatever, right?
I don't trust the doodad. The doodad got to go.
I use that a lot at work as well. We use RSA tokens. So I'll try to say it as simply as I can. So these devices are also used by the government, but not in this. This is a commercial version. What this contains is basically a mathematical formula that's tailored to this one device. So each device has its own unique number that you can derive other numbers off of that number, right? And so that's why you don't need to have this online, because as long as the number that's generated is a derivative of what's in here, then it'll authenticate on the account. So this is just a version, an offline version of your Google Authenticator app. That's all it is. So you're basically my Google app. Anyway, so what this does, the benefit you get from this, excuse me, Google's talking. The benefit you get from this is that you have to be physically present for this to work, right? So you can't, like someone in some other country cannot access it. You have to be physically present to either insert this on your computer device or tap it to your phone, or there's even a little button there that you press and that'll activate it. So you have to be physically present for this, for you to authenticate. And the scammers that's just something they haven't yet been able to replicate.
Are there certain brands that you can buy that you recommend, so people that are watching can know where to go out and buy?
Well, Mike said it, Yubi. I just go with Yubi. They're pretty secure. I don't have an issue with them, and they have different types of devices. This is a very simple one. They have some ones that are more sophisticated and have an LED screen and all that stuff. I don't need that. I keep this as actually a keychain. One thing I did is I got 2 of them, and every time I set up one, I set up the other, because this can be lost.
That was my next question. If it gets lost, you can have a duplicate one, or can you get a new YubiKey if you lost it and repopulate it, right? Like you can.
Yes and no. Okay. It goes back to, remember when I said when you're at the exchanges and you're setting up that 2FA and they give you a QR code to scan, that's your one-time code. If you don't write that down, you won't be able to reload those keys onto your device. So when you set up your 2FA, you want to hang on to that code. It comes in a QR code, but usually there's a code under that code that represents what that QR code is.
Gotcha. Sorry, Lady K.
Oh no, that was perfect. I was just gonna say it took me a minute to wrap my head around the YubiKey, and I like to explain. It to crypto people. It's like a ledger device, but for your passwords. I mean, just think of it like that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you have that device, you need it physically. It stores the key to access the crypto. I mean, the YubiKey is the same thing, but it's for your passwords.
Mm-hmm.
See,
I mean, it doesn't store the passwords, it stores the code, but you know what I mean.
Right. Not the actual passwords, just the number. Like we always in this space use the game of Sudoku when we're talking about mining, kind of a same methodology there in that regard. But I like the human factor, right? We always have to have our hand in the mix somewhere. Otherwise, we're suspect to lose, everything or anything along those lines, no matter what it is. So as long as there's the human touch involved, our human touch with our stuff, not just any human touch, right? But it sounds like we're good to go there. Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh no, guys, I think this particular topic on the two-factor is incredibly helpful, especially for people just dipping their toe, to really give them the understanding, because I didn't understand it initially. And the first time that I set up a two-factor, when I was dipping my toe, of course, I went to one of the harder ones to understand. I think it was Kraken, was like my first experience, and it was like so complicated.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was moving Bitcoin to it, and it was hairy dairy. It was crazy. And I did the two-factor, and I didn't write down those codes, right?
Oh.
And then I started having everybody tell me, like, well, if something happens to your phone, you'll never be able to reproduce that two-factor. And so, I didn't panic. I went and I created another wallet, and I just moved my stuff over. I kept it, I still had it on my phone. It was no big deal. It taught me practice to move assets back and forth and stuff anyway. But it taught me a very valuable lesson, because as you start dipping your toes into this stuff, you don't know about these things. You don't know really about two-factor, because like someone said earlier, the bank will automatically make you do it. They make you do the phone call or the text message, right? That's just the go-to. That's what they do. And so everybody thinks like, well, clearly that's like fine, because that's what the bank has me do, right? But no, it's not. It's not the best way to do it. And when we have these discussions, we realize I'm really not that protected by doing it that way, because every time Dick and Harry's probably got my phone number, and it's just a matter of time. So I'm really loving this conversation, and I think it's so important. And I want to say, you guys, Simon's been bringing up the people that are doing all of these Florida Man landscaping. Like, thank you so much for, I don't even know what to say. Kita, like all of you guys, you don't have to do that, is what I want to say. First of all, like, we're not doing, like, I super appreciate the support. I really, really do. I feel bad almost to have people giving money, because like I know, like we're all just like dipping our toes in all of this stuff, and I don't know what to say other than just thank you very much. Please don't feel like you have to do that. Liking and sharing and subscribing and all of this stuff, and we are going to have some cool stuff in the future for people once we do the token, and we're going to reward people for doing sharing and all of this stuff. But I just want to sincerely say thank you without crying, because it's just we're just so blessed. We love you guys.
We appreciate all the love.
We love you all so much.
All the love. Like, we literally at the Tip of Toe Show, we would not be here. First off, if it wasn't for that lady right there. Not this Lady K, but Lady K is really cool too. You should check her out, Coffee and Crypto in the Morning. The lady over to the next, Miss Lady K. Well, so we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and we would not be here if it wasn't for all the Dip-a-toers and everybody on this panel and all our guests that were brave enough to come on the Dip-a-Toe Show and help us grow organically, because that was really the goal. It still is the goal, and it still is the dream to grow organically, and we have done it because of all of you. All you. All we had to do was show up, turn the lights on, turn the internet on, put on our tinfoil hats, and we rock it. Not that we wear tinfoil hats on the show. Maybe when we're driving, it's possible.
But our success is your success, and I sincerely
100%.
mean that. And all of these legends that are on the stage right now, these guys are somebody, guys. These are big people that in the future, we're going to be blessed that they were on Dipito Show. You guys are a big deal. You really, really are. We're so early in this space. And for you guys to come on this show, every single one of you are freaking legends. And, you know, I'm going to start crying, but I just want to say, like, it really means a lot to me that you're spending the time, that you're coming to the show, and sharing your knowledge with the world, and you're helping spread my vision. And it just really means a lot. So this is supposed to be a serious show, and I'm not supposed to be crying, but damn it, you guys are awesome. And we really are going to change the world. And this show is going to go down in history. So that's all I'm going to say. Let's talk about wallets. For somebody new to crypto, what are the key differences between the hot wallets, cold wallets, and hardware wallets that you guys have all been floating around during this conversation?
Well, I know that Mike and I have had our share of conversations regarding our opinions on different wallets. So, but yeah, between hot wallets and cold wallets, obviously the safest, the most quantum proof wallet that you can have is a paper wallet that you created and you put funds in and you never exit funds out. That's the most secure quantum proof wallet address that you can have. The second most, Melissa, I think you're muted.
You're gonna have to tell people how to create a paper wallet now.
I was gonna say, can you just tell people what a paper wallet is? Because
okay, well, there are some pre-made paper wallets, as Patrick just mentioned, and I probably have a few laying around here. When we were at XRP Las Vegas, there was also a wallet maker there. I forget the name. I just have to dig through and get my wallet. There it is. That which Mike is holding up is a cold storage wallet that you can purchase. It comes with a seed phrase that you scratch off, but you really don't need to scratch off if you're not going to use it. All you're going to do is just put funds into it. So just use it. You have an address, put your funds in there. It's not coming out. All right. Because if your public key is not in the space, if there is some future in which a quantum computer can extract and derivate that private key from your public key, well, it just can't because the public key isn't available, right? So you just cut it off at the source.
Can I just say this? Yes. I'm so happy that you mentioned Ballet Wallet because Simon and I met them in the like 2 years ago at XRP Las Vegas. We bought some. We actually gifted one as a prize, and we actually have a couple more that we are going to give away that we haven't done giveaways for. But it's really cool that you are aware of that, and you are confirming that it is a good choice because that was my gut instinct that it was a good wallet, and I wasn't realizing that it was the equivalent to a paper wallet. So that's all I want to say.
Awesome. It's a great wallet. I also have this one here, which I don't think I can see. I can show you.
Yeah, there you go. Barely.
There you go. But that also
put it on your chest. Put it on your chest like this.
Right there.
Yeah, bam. Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful, bright, silver colored.
Hold on, I can't read the key.
Well, it's all that shows here is the wallet address, which you're welcome to have the wallet address, and you can spend as much funds as you want to that wallet address. But those are many examples out there for what a paper wallet or a cold storage wallet is. A ledger device is not a cold storage wallet. I would not consider. Even if they advertise themselves as such, I would not consider it a cold storage wallet because you're plugging it in to the internet at some point. So that's not a cold storage wallet. Now, the second most quantum proof wallet that you can have, in my opinion, is one in which has been rekeyed and the master key has been burned. Now, that may sound a little technical, but just to kind of explain is you take your private key that's associated with your wallet address and you chuck it and you get rid of it and burn it. And then you assign that wallet address to another wallet address that you own. Now that wallet address that you created and chucked the keys for doesn't have private keys. And so you can sign it with the wallet that you assigned it to. right? And that's another way of doing it. And there's some tutorial videos out there that one can check out and learn how to do it. Now, if you want, you can also create your own wallet. That's how I create my wallets. I just, do it on the old computer. That's a little more technical, but really it's just like one line of code that you put in your command line and it spits out a wallet address. The best thing about that is you can cut off your computer from the internet and you can generate that wallet address completely disconnected from the internet. It's called air gapped. When you hear the phrase air gapped, it means that you're working on a device that has that's not connected to the internet, and preferably never been connected to the internet.
Right. That makes sense. That's cool. Can you anybody please touch on this? This is always a great debate on the hot wallets, the cold wallets, what you might consider a cold storage, or maybe we need to come up with another term, for the medium warm wallet. What does that look like? Anybody else got to add anything to the hot and cold topic on this, Patrick?
So I would say there's only hot and cold. There is no lukewarm wallets. You're either exposed or you're not. But I do want to kind of add a little bit about this one. I'm not being endorsed by this brand or anything, but I just want to show people what this is.
Okay.
So this one is actually a physical piece of metal.
Okay.
And in this physical piece of metal, you can buy this for about $50-$60. And if you're getting into crypto, it's probably a good investment. I'll try to show people on there. Basically, this is your 12 to 24 word seed phrase for your keys. And it comes with these little metal plates. Now, why is this superior to a traditional paper wallet? And the reason is fire. Fire burns paper. Flooding burns paper. It doesn't burn it. It destroys paper. So having something that's actually engraved into a metal card, something you can put your seed phrase on, like this, is probably the most secure foundational layer to your crypto journey. You're not going to get this for your centralized exchange, your Coinbase, your Kraken, KuCoin, whatever. Those are still centralized exchanges where you are completely vulnerable. And for the record, if your funds are on a centralized exchange, you don't own them. You have access to the account until the moment you don't. If they go bankrupt, your funds go towards their debtors first, not to you. It's not insured. There's no FDIC, nothing of that sort. So the best thing you can do is to get to the point where you understand how to open a non-custodial wallet that is offline, and you put your seed phrase in one of these, and then you do a will and trust, and you put it either in a safety deposit box and send a trust off to your lawyer, or you send it off to your lawyer. And that's the way that you're going to secure that for a lifetime, instead of just a temporary fix that you're just hoping for the best. Kind of something I wanted to touch on earlier, and Melissa, I apologize in advance because I know you've got a bunch of listeners. I might drop a few of them off right here.
No.
So I want to talk about what makes a victim. And I come from a military background like Will, and you got to think about what the predator is actually looking for. And in the military, what we call that is soft targets and hard targets. When you're wearing all your armor and you got heavy tanks and you got machine guns mounted and you got a show of force, that's a hard target. But that supply convoy with just a Humvee up front and in the back, that's a soft target. And 9 times out of 10, the soft target is the one that gets hit because nobody wants to attack the hard target. When it comes to being a victim, I would say that the large majority, probably 99% of everyone who ever becomes a victim, frankly, of anything, and I'm sorry if that hurts somebody's feelings, it's because at that time you were a soft target. There was a predator in the area. They came into the room, they looked at everybody and they said, hey, that person over there is drunk and vulnerable. or that person over there is looking for a little something extra and I could get their attention and they're going to do whatever I ask them to do. Those are the things that make you a victim. So as soon as you get on social media, you share family photos. I know it's rare on X, but it always kind of hurts my heart a little bit when I see people sharing family photos on X. When you do those things on Telegram, when you end up putting out things that give away your address, photos from your house, there's people out there on 4chan that can literally track down, a location of a flag based on star charts,
right,
to the meter. So the reality is the more information you're putting out there, the softer of a target you are. And that's what makes a victim, especially in crypto.
man.
Yep. Agreed.
And
Agreed.
if I can weigh in on the topic.
Absolutely.
Weigh in,
Weigh
Mr.
in.
Doge.
So yeah, I mean, sequence count is really important, and that's what Will was talking about exposed accounts and keeping an account truly secure. You can send it to it and not decrease its security, essentially. So if your main wallet or use wallet is separate from your savings wallet or where you keep the majority of your crypto, that's a good practice in itself, because if you're sending from your main wallet, you're raising the sequence count, you're putting more fingerprints out there, and later on, in theory, it'll be easier to break into. MadLab is a paper wallet. It can generate offline vanity addresses or standard addresses without needing to be connected or anything. And those files you can download. What's cool about MadLab is that, a lot of people in here, for starters, have been contributors. Just about every single person on this stage has been an influencer or a creator of that. And I mean, even if it's something simple, like Lady K said, hey, that should have simulate swap in it. And I'm like, yes, it should, that kind of stuff. So, and the guys from TextRP and Patrick, and, the theory of a wallet in general and what it should be. And for the MadLab protection of a wallet file, I don't have any UBI key or anything like that. Though out of all of the things that people mentioned, I like that the best. The problem that I have is, my dad, a family member, far less capable with this kind of stuff, loses a device, a phone goes down, something breaks, and all of these interlaced things become a problem. More of a hindrance than a helping at that point, especially if they had a minimal social footprint, and and we get that a lot in. And I'm just going to say it, in the boomer generation, baby boomers, those people, a lot of them have a far smaller digital footprint, and some of them get attacked because maybe they know less. But a good way to be, I guess, less attacked is really have a small online presence. So many of them don't have much of one, and the security tends to cost a lot of them, their accounts and everything. With MadLab being a paper wallet, it uses 3 passwords on top of passwords, essentially, to encrypt the file. And that has made it a incredibly robust seed file as far as getting into the MadLab wallet. And I've told people, it comes with a wallet that you have the file that I made, and it has 100 XRP in it. And if somebody can get in there, they can have it, that kind of stuff. And I personally prefer, which is slightly opposite to Patrick here, not metal, but paper. I prefer paper on paper for paper wallets. MadLab uses paper wallets. And the reason that I prefer paper is I'm less worried about fire or water than I am metal detectors and, people getting it, that kind of stuff. I perceive, in the future, traveling with a device or something metallic, a USB stick, even a micro USB, will come up in a metal detector. I think at some point that'll all be things that people need to be concerned about as far as what's on those, and checkpoints will want to know, especially if you're going to another country, that kind of stuff. The portability and pliability of MadLab, it can't be banned. It can run on almost anything. And your paper wallet, even if you don't have the code for MADLAB, you can go on another device, download it, use your paper wallet, create a new wallet, and load into MADLAB directly. I really like printed paper wallets or written paper wallets with modified seeds and a process that you look at, and you just change a couple characters. And this is where it gets tricky. It's a form of a password, but it allows you to create multiple copies of that piece of paper, put them in various places in your luggage and on your person, preventing for that risk of fire and things like that. But it also makes it to where if somebody does get it, they're not getting your actual account. And you can also fund that forward-facing account, the fake account, essentially, that they would load if they had loaded that seed file with a minimal amount of XRP or whatever your asset is, and that's what they would get. But when you look at that string for the seed, you can change it. And then if you know how you changed it, you can unchange it. And it's a really simple mental process of +1 to all the numbers. Right? +1 to all the numbers. And then when you go to undo that, you say -1 to all the numbers. And once you put that in, you've put it in correct. But no one on the planet, and you won't have that written anywhere, no one on the planet will be able to replicate what you have done specifically. It would be an impossibility for them to break in or breach your account that way. And then at the same time, as far as natural disasters, elemental protections, and separation or having multiple copies to ensure for no destruction, because from what I've found, if we can create it, we can destroy it, sadly. And what I mean is that anytime you have a central point, that's the one point that, of course, is going to want to fail somehow magically. Something is going to want to happen to it, and it'll come up missing or whatever the case may be. So I do like to have multiple of the same thing, and that's just kind of my personal strategy on it is right here. Here it is. You can have all of my things, but they're nothings. That's what everything leads to. So, yeah.
I want to add a little bit to what William was just saying, as far as if you were traveling in austere conditions and you had to, say, go through an airport, and this is just a hypothetical based off no experience at all. But if you wanted to encode something as you were traveling, then the simplest way would be to use a book and circle in order the individual letters, perhaps many pages apart, or perhaps mark the pages with the first letter that matches your seed phrase throughout that book. And if you want something that nobody wants to take or look through, or perhaps they even feel awkward to acknowledge you have it, do it in a Bible.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Man, I love this conversation right here. I know we're diving down into the deep end of the pool, Dipitowers. For all of you watching, you're like, what are they talking about? I feel like we just went into trigonometry again. I didn't make it past algebra.
Sorry, my bad.
No, it's not. It's good
because, not at all.
Because what I'm bringing this to light. First thing is we're hearing two different preferences, okay, to solve the same problem, but to solve that same problem with each one of us, our lifestyles, what we do, we know ourselves enough to go, "Ooh, I can't do that right now, but I need to get there." Should be your thought, right? I need to get to where I have 3 Bibles and I have 1 Quran, and I've circled it, right? You're going through your own puzzle to let you know what you need to do on whichever wallet, and when it comes to security and solving these real world problems. Patrick, bringing to point, metal. Why? Well, fire happens. I'm pretty good. Doge, I don't care about fire or water. I have multiple copies, everywhere. I have a plan to mitigate the risk, right? And that's what we're doing here. That's what security is where is the risk? Where is the risk? And Patrick, I like that. Go get a Bible. Got that one. Almost all Bibles are highlighted and circled and little notes on the side of like, where are you, dude? I'm on John right now. Let's just go home. Forget it. Let's go find a more softer, very soft target. This one's becoming way too hard. valid. I like this.
Yeah,
I like
they
this
do
a lot.
want easy, right? They do want the
Right.
easy people. They can move on because there's plenty of other targets out there. So if you make it as difficult as possible and not partake in it, it's much better.
If they were willing to work hard, they wouldn't be scammers.
Right?
No, that's a really good
Ooh,
point.
that's a gut shot, baby. That's a
Um,
good shot. I like that. Go ahead.
Patrick took the paper wallet and the theme to a book, and Da Vinci coded it. And to be honest, I mean, yeah, if you did that and you also modified the string, that guys, that's what's so cool about blockchain, though, right? Is that it really is malleable. Like, you can modify this stuff and you can play with it in ways that there's nobody on the planet they're ever going to figure it out. So even completely, normal seeming things can end up being the clues for you to unravel your own stuff. Just try not to nest it too deep to where even you can't solve it. But my main problem was it really bothers me to see that I think that we probably lose more people and more wallets to the complexity of a lot of things that they do. And device failure, the inability to load wallets that are phone based on PCs and all of this stuff. And even, guys, the dragging of your wallet in a browser extension across the internet, the new MetaMask logging in to social media with your wallet, all of this stuff, we haven't begun to see the horror stories coming our way. In fact, even Ripple Bids had trouble with this on First Ledger here recently. And I know that these companies are going to do literally the best that they can, but at the same time, this is really soft target zone. I mean, this is just way more connections to everything, like Patrick was talking about. And as we risk this more and more inexperienced people are going to keep getting cooked. And for us, the people tuning in and the people in here, I know most, like everybody in here is going to be fine. I'm not worried. It's my dad, it's my sister, it's my brother, it's these people who literally don't live, sleep, eat, breathe crypto, don't live in the trenches, don't know any of this stuff. And they're living their life in a different way. And we're trying to simplify and ease the process of getting them into blockchain. But at the same time, we're creating so many risk as a crypto community in trying to simplify the process. And to be truthful and honest, there's an accountability and some learning that has to go into this space. It's a big deal to take true custody of your assets and your finances, especially for a society that's mostly been catered to by banks that can do chargebacks and recall funds and fix things when people get scammed by Nigerian princes. In this space, yeah, and it's true.
So
and
true.
In this space, there's no protection like that. It's like your account got cooked. Sorry, bro. Like you clicked a bad link and that kind of stuff. So people will have to be educated, and at the same time, 30-second setups for your wallet, like some wallet companies are bragging about. No, stop doing this. Stop rushing people through the education phase. When this first happened, I quite like when they started advertising about this. I'm like, no, that's bad. That's bad. There should be some education that goes into this. People should understand how serious it is, because what you think isn't serious right now is 20 XRP or 50 XRP, not only may go up tremendously in value, but over time, 2-3 years down the road, you kept stacking crypto. You kept putting money in there. And then one day your phone breaks and you're like, where was that thingy I wrote at the beginning? Oh God, I don't know. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't have my account anymore. And that became maybe a third of your asset savings. And these people are not being, I would say, expressed to the severity of, the importance of this. When they're put through in 30 seconds, here's your account, yay. It's like, no, this is really important. This part, don't give it to anybody. Make sure it's on multiple things, all of that stuff. So I'm kind of like, I don't want people just rushed into blockchain and uneducated on the importance of long-term. Like, nobody is used to in this society holding things for multiple years. These devices that we're so proud of, we're constantly having these things break every few years on us. We go down the street and it falls on the ground and it's gone. And then all these 2FAs and crazy stuff, the UBI or YubiKey thing, I like that. I don't have one personally, but I like that because that at least isn't online and that kind of stuff. But the centralized databases are another problem. So, I mean, we have like a plethora. This is literally minefields in a battlefield. And, you know, the AIs and all of these new login methods and multiple forms of connectivity aren't going to make the space safer. It's going to get way worse. And I don't know what the solution to all of it is, but there's a lot of things that I built for and reasoning around MADLab to help prevent for this stuff is just really straightforward, simple, and you know, you can grab the code anywhere and put it on anything. And the main thing that you focus on is, you know, your unencrypted file and your encrypted file, and you get those on a USB stick and you keep that off of the device, and, you know, as secure as possible, as simple as possible. But at the same time, you know, a paper wallet is the gold standard. And yeah, that's kind of, we're not going to master it. And I think, like I said, man, it's going to be quite a while before everything gets figured out for new people. Yeah.
I will say this. This community here, the Dippito community, the Coffee and Crypto with Stone, the Trench Warfare, all the groups that hang out with Mike and Will from TextRP, Patrick Riley and his group of folks. We're creating a network of people that can provide support to one another. And as new people come in, I kind of look at it as my job to kind of steer them in the right direction, right? Get part of a community, be part of a family that's going to lift you up and help educate yourself so that you aren't out there floating around searching desperately for somebody to help you on the internet, people that you don't know. You do have to expend some time and energy to get into these networks of people, but we're a welcoming group of folks. You know, the XRP Ledger community in general is a very loving, kind community, which takes me to something that I want to bring up this evening before we leave. We're about 8 minutes out before we have to shut this down. I hope that everybody comes and joins us in the Dippito After Dark, because we're going to continue this conversation over on X Spaces. I did post the link in the chat. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up that I said I would bring up, and TextRP put this, the XRP Ledger community has a chance to rally together and support X Media One in his fight for life, helping him access critical treatment and ultimately a heart transplant. And so, guys, I didn't really realize, I knew there's a friend of ours, his name's Liam Nowak on X. He is currently in congestive heart failure. He needs right now to get treatments. He needs like $3,950 more to raise to do it. He's in stage D heart failure. The only way to make it better probably is a stem cell treatment and other stimulation therapy and intensive cardiac rehab. But none of it's paid by insurance. Of course, because he's so sick, he's lost his job and he's down to like 60% of health insurance coverage. They were paying for some things, but 2.5 years ago, they stopped because of new bills that came into play that cut out different things all over the place. And so medical insurance is before they will even put him on the list for a transplant, for a heart transplant, he has to have 3 different kinds of treatments to get his body in shape to be able to receive a new heart. And so, you know, not to be dire, guys, but this is a life or death situation. And so basically, he has 20% function of his heart. He has 10 senses in his heart. He can't get the transplant without going through these stem cells. And those of us that are in we want to treat ourselves organically or alternatively to the traditional medicine, knows when you look at your health insurance, none of these things are covered. However, these are the things that are going to prep him to receive a heart. So I guess all I'm saying is we don't usually do this on the Dip a Toe show, but this man needs help, and we are the XRP community. This is his GoFundMe page. If you're not comfortable, you're not in crypto yet, there's 348 of you watching. Basically, if 10 people donated 10 XRP or $30 each or whatever, he could get, or 100 people, he could get to the $3,900 or whatever that he needs to start these treatments. Unfortunately, they don't just do them without getting paid. And so if it moves you to help this gentleman, Liam, I sure would appreciate it. And
Can I jump in 1 second?
Absolutely.
On Liam and what's going on with him. I mean, we have a fairly big ledger, so it shouldn't be too hard for us to solve. MadLab has a give automatic donation that you can click, and from that, I've already put in $150 towards the help for Liam and all of that. Just so you guys know, and I haven't said it yet, so I will say it. MadLab can be found on zogehome.com. There's an hour tutorial on how to use it. And, just as I tell people when they're new, put a little XRP, create a new wallet. Don't bring your tracking wallet from another thing. Don't import another wallet. Just create a new one. Most of the wallets have their own Google Analytics or other forms of tracking and that kind of stuff. And it may be best for you. Just to kind of create a new wallet and at the same time keep the funds in it minimal until you're comfortable with it and you feel really good about the user experience that you're having with it. And on Liam's issue, the donations that go through there, when he started to need it, I said, hey, in Trench Warfare, I had told him I'll create an additional donation button for things like this in the XRP ecosystem. And MadLab has a user group, and we're pushing 300 users in there. And that give fund is specifically for people in the ecosystem that we can verify and vet. This isn't a charity by any means. The funds go in there, they sit there, somebody gets hit by a car, ran over, their house burns down, things like that. The community is already prepared for this kind of stuff. And since it's so new, obviously, I mean, this is one of those things where it's time sensitive. So MadLab itself is, half a year old, and the Give Fund itself is only a month old. So we couldn't do too much very quickly. And that's kind of what's needed in this case. However, moving forward, I'd like people to be aware of that, because stuff like this happens. It could happen to any of us. And there's always been charities, from the 90s and even earlier, and they never reached home. But, so long as I have that access to that wallet, those funds are going to, not at 95%, at 100%, reach people who can be verified and do have significant issues. So just wanted to throw that out there and where people could find MadLab, and appreciate the support for helping out the ecosystem and all of that.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
Zoj. That's fantastic. Yeah, guys, and we will, for those that are interested, come over into the After Dark space. I'm sure hopefully Liam will stop by. If you're not familiar with who he is, I will be sure to put the stuff in the show notes later after the show, after the After Dark and all of that. But yes, if you can, please check it out. And so we've got about 4 minutes left, and I want to go around the room, have you have your final thoughts, and let people know where they can find you. Wow, you guys are something else. Thank you, Bradley B.
Well, I guess since Bradley. Woo,
Go ahead.
Bradley stud. Jeez.
Unbelievable. You guys, I'm just blown
Yeah.
away tonight. I don't even know what to say.
In my last here, I'll just say, guys, I created Zoge. I'm out there. I work with Patrick Riley. He does the Reaper project, and he's been burning Zoge forever and backing it and things like that. People know me. You know where to find me at zogehome.com for MadLab. And the other thing Toasty had said in the chat, open source. MadLab is open source, guys. How many wallets do you get the code and can modify it with your hands? Look at it, have a third party inspect it, and things like that. This level of decentralized technology becomes the standard. Centralized technology is low technology, in my opinion, because you have to rely on external entities that can be leveraged by governments, that can be shut down, that have to charge you fees and all of this. So there's a lot of advantage, though it's very difficult to make decentralized technology. It obviously it has cost and it's difficult and those kinds of things. But aside from that, just the understanding required to achieve that for people is another set of problems all on its own. But just want to say thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. Really appreciate
Patrick.
it, man.
Yeah, definitely everything William just said. And as far as decentralized technology being the higher technology, I would just say that if you think about countries and the way that countries have been built throughout our history, from dictatorships and empires, etc., the first decentralized or shared power of a republic being Rome, and then followed on with America with states and counties and the distribution of authority across the judicial, executive, and legislative branches. That's exactly what the blockchain is. So when you're explaining it to your grandparents, explain to them that the blockchain is the ideals of the American ideal. It's decentralization of authority. So just throwing that out there. If you want to follow me, if you're looking at the screen, it does say @QFS_president. That is my shadow banned account. It's very hard to find. I did start a new account that is @acquired_savant. And, by all means, you can message me on either. Otherwise, we have multiple accounts for Capital Revival, Ascension Index, Arc Institute, Pillars, Box. By all means, if you try to get a hold of me through any of them, you're going to get a hold of me. So I appreciate everyone that came out tonight, and I appreciate everyone's generosity towards Melissa. She will shut up and take my money. But
I saw that. You're so funny.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all of our panel, and thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Great to have you on the show. Mike Laugh.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, guys. This is awesome. I just wanted to throw out one kind of final thought. When it comes to this stuff, like if you're brand new, if you're not a very technical person, if you're not super comfortable, if you're not understanding the terminology with a lot that's being said, just keep it simple, right? Basics. Number one, if it's super convenient, it's probably not secure, right? That inconvenience, you said it earlier, Simon, having that human touch as part of it, having an extra step in there, usually a good sign if that's mandatory as part of what you're doing. Things that were said in here, some of it was the same thing, just said in different ways, right? As far as like paper wallets, how to create one. MadLab is a fantastic source to be able to do that. You can do what Zoge said, follow the video, get your version of MadLab, create a wallet, put that thing on a USB stick and park it. Fundamentally, if you're not prepared to do more advanced things like some of us are doing to be able to interact with these things in a safe and comfortable way, you could just do the real simple thing that's already been communicated. Get a paper wallet, keep it offline, stop doing things that expose it, right?
No,
Right.
And that's good advice, Mike. I hate to cut you off. Where can people follow you? Because we're on IMU TV. Where can they follow you at, man?
Oh, I'm on X. Mike Laugh 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 something. I don't know.
I posted in the chat. I'm trying to post all your guys' links in the chat as we're going.
It was great to have you on, brother. It really was, and it was a good time chatting with you in Vegas, man. I look forward to our
always a pleasure. Love you guys.
Yeah. The Lady K, quick final thoughts before we go. Got to unmute, girlfriend.
Mute.
Gotta
Oh,
unmute,
you're
girlfriend.
muted. Sorry.
Nope, that's camera. There you go. Almost. Almost.
There you go. Sorry.
Sorry. Baby steps, Bob. Start with one security measure you're not using. Get used to it, and then add another one, and then just keep going. Melissa, I sent you that cheat sheet. I wasn't sure if you wanted. Okay. And you can follow me on Lady Kristin 222. I changed it from my name because nobody could find
you.
That's all.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Lady K. The Mike, TextRP.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was a great conversations.
Yes, thank you for your input.
At LurkyDev on X, and yeah, I hope I can come back again one day.
Definitely.
And-
We're definitely going to have you back on the show, 100%. Will, take us out of this, man. Where can people follow you?
Yeah, just follow us. We're on X at TextRP SMS. We're also on TextRP. How do you? So go to textrp.io. Thanks for having us. Just want to say that, decentralized, centralized. It's a trade-off of responsibility. So if you're going to go decentralized, you got to be ready to take on more responsibility.
I love it. You guys
Love
are fantastic. This has been fantastic. I invite every single one of you to join us in the After Dark, Tiptoe After Dark. I posted the link in the stream. We love you. We're going to do it. We're making it. Goodbye.